guys, welcome to today's video and welcome to another WWE reaction. Ah, that's cool. That's an actual W. Cross Cody recommended this video and he said, "Hi, I love your content. Can you please react to WrestleMania to wrestlers who Vince McMahon hated personally?" Yes, thanks so much for liking my video and let's go and check it out.
There are certain superstars who WWE Chairman Vince McMahon has always had a solid and healthy relationship with.
I don't know, oh cringe, this is, oh, do you think Becky was happy here or she was like, why is he so close to me?
Superstars such as John Cena, The Undertaker, Triple H and even Roman Reigns have formed close bonds with Vince, and this has benefited them throughout their WWE career. However, there are certain superstars over the years that Vince has grown to dislike both professionally and personally, and for the most part, this opinion has never changed. But which wrestlers are they? Well, join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 WWE superstars that Vince McMahon legitimately hated.
Do you think Bret Hart would be on this list?
Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10, Scott Steiner. When Scott Steiner rejoined the WWE in 2002, the relationship between himself and Vince McMahon seemed to be healthy enough. However, over the next few months, this would all change. Steiner would be positioned in a high-profile feud with Triple H for the world title, but sadly, Steiner's quality of work was so poor that Vince saw no future in him as a main event talent. Following Steiner's departure in 2004, he would spend the rest of his career in other companies such as TNA and would never step foot in a WWE ring ever again. As a result of the soured relationship between Steiner and WWE, Steiner would be rather public in his opinions in relation to Vince and his extended family.
His douchebag daughter, and as then Triple H, he wouldn't be in wrestling if he wouldn't be f***ing a boss's daughter. So,
all of these comments were.
He'd be mad. But today we see him in WWE, especially with Braun Breaker.
Inappropriate in nature, and as a result, Steiner has been outright banned from all WWE events, including the WWE Hall of Fame by Vince himself. Number 9, Cedric Alexander.
Really? He never showed up? Am I imagining this? This video was 2 years ago made, and now we have Triple H, even though Steiner probably hates Triple H because of that, and what he just said also was, but still, I think I saw him. I honestly, I saw him in the audience. They even called him out.
WWE Hall of Fame by Vince himself. Number 9, Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander still remains on the WWE roster, but this doesn't take away from the fact that it's clear that Vince McMahon isn't a fan of the former Cruiserweight champion. This all started when Cedric ignored a direct order from Vince, and as a result, a number of high-profile superstars including Kurt Angle saw this as the beginning of the end for Cedric's healthy relationship with the WWE chairman. In 2019, it was reported that Vince wanted to bury Cedric as much as possible during a match with AJ Styles. This actually led to Cedric responding to these claims, and naturally, he rebutted him. When Cedric joined the popular Hurt Business stable in 2020, it wasn't before long that WWE separated the group and Cedric was moved down the card. It's clear that Vince began to dislike Cedric when he disobeyed his orders, and it remains unclear if this rocky relationship could ever be healed. Number 8, Nails. For those not aware, Nails was a character that debuted into WWE in the early 90s. The character was an ex-prisoner who claimed that he had been abused in prison by the Big Boss Man. Nails was nothing special in the ring, and a number of people in WWE have stated that Nails thought he should have been a major star in the company. But in one of the craziest stories in WWE history, Nails actually physically attacked Vince McMahon in what was supposed to be a civil meeting between the chairman and one of his talents. According to Bret Hart, this is how the confrontation went down. Vince had problems to deal with in Green Bay. For the past 6 months, he'd been building Kevin Wachholz as a psycho killer ex-con named Nails. Kevin cornered Vince in his office and screamed at him for 15 minutes about all the lies he'd been told. His yelling got so loud, I got goosebumps up my neck as I listened from down the hall. Suddenly, there was a loud crash. Nails had knocked Vince over his chair, choking him violently until Lanza, Slaughter, and a swarm of agents teamed up to pull him off. Nails walked out and immediately called the police and accused Vince of making a sexual advance towards him. Vince was charged
Oh
as
my
sexual assault.
God.
The charges were dropped soon after. Some of the boys actually admired Nails for snatching Vince while covering his tracks to not get charged himself. The last thing Vince wanted was another scandal. Following the intense
Oh my God, he
outburst, Nails would be
survived
quite rightly
that.
blacklisted from the WWE by
course.
Vince and would never be mentioned by the company ever again. Number 7. Rusev. Rusev had a complex relationship with Vince McMahon. When Rusev debuted on the main roster, he was presented well and he received a major push. However, when Rusev began to show more personality, this didn't sit well with Vince. The relationship was truly shattered when Rusev became incredibly popular thanks to the Rusev Day character. Rusev would become one of the most over superstars in the entire WWE, but Vince simply believed that WWE fans were mocking Rusev with the chant. Vince had no plans to push Rusev as a major babyface, and as the reactions got louder, Vince's dislike of Rusev and his character grew. This mindset was completely backwards and
personal.
completely flawed. At one stage, the relationship between WWE and Rusev was on such bad terms that Rusev actually asked for his WWE release. This was when Vince personally added Rusev to the WrestleMania 34 card, but this did little to change Rusev's happiness or alter Vince's established opinion on the former
no
US
happy
champion.
Rusev Day no
Fast forward to
more.
2020 and Rusev will be released by WWE with the official reasoning being budget cuts, but it was clear that Rusev had fallen out of favour with the WWE chairman a long time ago. Number 6. Randy Savage. During the 80s and early 90s, Macho Man Randy Savage was one of the biggest stars in
You didn't
WWE.
like that?
For the most part, Savage had a great relationship with Vince. However, this began to change when Vince wanted to position Savage as a commentator on Raw. Savage believed that he had a lot more left to offer the company from a wrestling perspective, but Vince believed that he was simply too old to be wrestling. Savage was only in his early 40s during this time. Compare this to today's WWE, when it's often the case that superstars win their first world title in their 40s. When Savage departed the WWE in '94 for WCW, he would never return to the
back then and
company.
42
It was
is
believed
the
that Savage was blacklisted from the company and that Vince wanted nothing to do with the former multi-time WWE champion, as he took it rather personally that Savage jumped to WCW. Number 5. Dusty Rhodes. By the time Dusty Rhodes arrived in WWE in 1989, he was already a household name. However, when he signed for the WWE, Vince McMahon decided to give Dusty a gimmick which involved the former
did he not
WCW
like
champion
that?
wearing polka dots. The gimmick was given to Dusty because Vince
Is
wanted
that
to
why Dusty
embarrass
never
him as
won the
much as
champion?
possible, and it was said that Vince was never really a fan of his work. With Dusty now in WWE, Vince finally believed he had control over his destiny. Interestingly, Dusty would eventually be heavily involved in development and subsequent success of NXT. According to those in WWE, Dusty and Triple H had a tremendous relationship which appeared to be a total contrast to the complex and hostile relationship between Dusty and Vince. Number 4. Gail Kim. To sum up the relationship
Triple H
between
really
Gail
helped
Kim
the
and Vince
company.
McMahon, look no further than the time that
a
Gail
first
described Vince
girl.
as Satan. And that'll tell you everything you need to know. The issues between the two started when Gail was a massive advocate for women's wrestling, but during Gail's time in the WWE, this didn't fall in line with WWE's direction. According to various sources, including Jim Ross, Vince wasn't a fan of Gail's appearance, and as a result, this meant that he had no interest in pushing her. When Gail left the WWE in 2011, the hostility didn't stop there, as Gail had spent the best part of the next decade sharing stories in relation to how Vince didn't like her and how she was held down by him. Number 3. Cesaro. Fans have always assumed that Vince McMahon wasn't a fan of the Swiss Superman Cesaro. This was confirmed when Vince appeared on Stone Cold's podcast and confirmed that he wasn't a
James
fan of
Bond.
him and that he'd failed to grab the brass ring. Vince would even declare that Cesaro wasn't a draw, implying that Cesaro could never make him any substantial amount of money. And for Cesaro's boss to publicly slate him on a WWE production wasn't the best look for anyone involved. Cesaro has had a number of stop-start pushes in his time in the WWE, but these have always fallen flat, and it's unknown why Vince decided to push Cesaro, suddenly change his mind, and then move him down the card. Number 2. Christian. Christian is well established for being one of the most talented in-ring performers of all time.
Christian
However,
is
Vince
really
McMahon has
good.
never seemed to be too big of a fan of the former world champion. According to Bruce Pritchard, Vince wasn't a fan of Christian because he preferred larger-than-life figures and didn't think Christian had a great appearance.
Seriously, you
So much so that Vince
guys?
actually disliked showing Christian on camera due to how much he disliked his appearance. Additionally, there were even rumors that Vince wanted to
appearance,
place a blue
man.
dot over Christian whenever he appeared on WWE television. This was so Vince personally wouldn't have to see Christian's face and he could focus on producing.
Excuse me, what? Is this real? This guy Oh my god. There is no way.
The show instead of being distracted by his appearance. And number 1, CM Punk. When CM Punk first made his WWE
this one
debut
makes
back in 2006,
sense.
it was clear that
We
Vince
knew this
McMahon
one.
didn't get what
So
Punk
Bret
was
Hart is
about
not
as a
there.
performer. This continued throughout Punk's career, and the two would have a lot of conflicting opinions in relation to Punk's character and how he should be presented. The two had a rather public fallout in 2000.
I mean, to be honest, I am 100% backing up CM Punk's decisions here. Although maybe he was too bombastic, you know, in the way he approached everything. But I think he was fighting for his own rights, and he deserves it because he was 100% getting screwed by Vince.
2014, which led to Punk's WWE departure, and this fallout even involved Punk receiving his release papers on the day of his wedding. Even though Vince denies that this wasn't deliberate, Punk believes that Vince clearly wanted him to feel as bad as possible on the happiest day of his life.
Yeah.
In recent years, it's been reported that Vince doesn't like Punk in any capacity, and he believes that Punk has issues. When there were rumors that Punk was returning to wrestling in the summer of 2021, it was said that Vince had zero interest in bringing him back. The fact that Vince has always been willing to bring back talent, who's even held him up for money in the past, just goes to show how much hatred Vince has for the current AEW wrestler. But there you have it, folks, 10 WWE superstars that Vince McMahon legitimately hates. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
Okay. All right. Let's see what the comments are saying. Vince hates it when a talent gets over organically without his help. I feel like that is such a true comment. I feel like he needs to be under control when it comes to everything, and he needs to take the credit for everything. He never want to admit when being wrong, and he never wants to give the option or the opinion to the wrestler that they are good without him, you know. Vince hates anyone who doesn't follow his orders, speaks truth publicly, slim athletic wrestlers with talent, and Christian Cage's face. I love this comment. Yup. Keep forgetting what an absolute stunner of an athlete Gail Kim actually is. Man, she's absolute fire. I don't know her performance, but to say that he doesn't like how she looks like and that's why he hated her, like, excuse me, she's beautiful. What are you talking about? I feel like there's something more there. Like, I don't want to like say stuff that are probably not true, you know. I don't want to say that, but maybe Kim kept to herself and he didn't like that. Psych. Vince hating on Cesaro is uncalled for. He's one of the most sound people on the roster. No beef, no trouble, and he looked like a professional every time. Sometimes you don't have to do anything wrong and you don't have to look bad at all for Vince to hate you, you know, or for some people to hate you. So it's just the way it is. Unfortunate, but at least now we see some talents coming back since Vince is not there anymore, which shows you that it was never their problem or their issue. It was on him. But that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe for more. And if you want me to react to more videos that you recommend, just write react and the title of the video in the comments down below and I will do it next time. Thanks so much for watching. Check out my Patreon for more WWE reactions. And yeah, have a wonderful day and see you next time, guys. Bye.